What's good? What's good? We back. One and only Paul Masson, live from Fayettenam. This is gonna be a react. So I'm gonna start doing reacts. I'm gonna react to music industry videos, music news, and music discussion. And we're gonna start with the Joe and Jada talking about the best hip hop debuts. Let's see what they got.
The subject we came up with today, it's a legendary subject, is artists.
Another religious argument.
Another religious. Hey, that's what it's about. You know, me growing up, even more than growing up, even when I was in the streets, we would break night just arguing about who's the greatest rapper, who got the best bars, who got shout out my boy Shot. We used to go to 148 and he used to like Dane to Dane. I used to like Slick Rick. That's just normal shit in the hood. So today, I don't think it's a debate or nothing like that, but we thinking about the
No,
best
it's a debate.
debut albums from an artist.
Woo! Best debut albums.
From an artist.
Artists, not groups. Artists.
No, artists. It could be whatever, but it's really, yeah, it could be
Just
groups.
Artists. It's
But
going to
artists.
be here forever.
You could be here for, we can be here forever. Because Illmatic might be the best piece of art ever made in hip-hop records. Nas Illmatic, pure hip-hop. That changed my life. What was it like for
I
you?
like It Was Written better.
Let me stop right there. I agree with Jada 100%. I always said I felt like, as good as Illmatic was, I felt like he was holding back. I felt like he was still leaving a lot out there on the table that we haven't heard yet from him. And I always feel like no matter how good your debut is, your second album should be better. You're supposed to get better. I mean, if your first album is your best and you got, 6, 7, 8 albums, I think that just says you had really one great piece of work, and then after that, you couldn't figure out how to reproduce that moment or reproduce that good quality music and reach that level again. There's a lot of albums though, man. The Game here, that's one right here. The Game's debut, that was a pretty good album, 4 or 5 million sold. Of course, NWA was huge. Eminem was huge. Wu-Tang, nobody was producing music like they was. Lauryn Hill's debut was crazy. Dre's Chronic debut as a solo, that was huge. Biggie, Ready to Die. They got Get Rich or Die Trying on this list, but that was his second album. He had an album on Columbia. Kanye West, College Dropout. DMX definitely had a great debut. DMX had probably one of the biggest debuts ever. He dropped 2 albums in 1 year, the first year. Well, there's a lot of really great debuts. But some definitely overshadow others. Nelly, not that I think he had a great debut, like as far as the musical content, but as far as success goes, he did. Snoop Dogg, huge debut album, really good as well. I mean, a lot of guys had good debuts. Really, what the problem was is the second album, trying to recreate not necessarily the same sound, but the same caliber, quality music, and that could reach the same amount of success. Let's keep it moving.
I got Rich the Barber says the same thing. Rich the Barber says the same thing,
But Illmatic did something to my soul. But It Was Written did something to my bloodstream.
yeah, that's the second album.
It was feel like It Was Written was like it should be in the Google.
To me, Illmatic just changed the whole game, changed how
It did change the game. It did raise the bar. It raised the standards of, you got to put out a really, really good album, you know what I'm saying, to compete with this, to compete with Illmatic. I mean, Illmatic is a flawless album. Don't get me wrong, But there's some flawless albums out there, like besides Illmatic. Even later down the line, I feel like Jay-Z might have made one of his most flawless albums like really late in his career. Let's keep it moving.
Everybody was rapping. You know, Nas coming from a legendary project like
He's very young.
Queensbridge under MC Shan and Marley Marl and all these guys. And then it gave you a modern day glimpse at the time of what Queensbridge was about. And so to me, well, that's crazy because, I got
Gotta
some
take
friends
it
who say
back
the
to
same
Run
thing you say.
DMC, man.
But I ain't seen
King of rap, the king of rock,
debut album,
1984.
King of Rock. Run DMC taught us how to dress. They with the blazers.
LL. What about LL? I mean, LL was the first rap solo superstar. First rap solo superstar. You know, the impact, I mean, it had. A lot of guys had really good debut albums. Like I said, though, it's always about the second or the third or the fourth. Like Mobb Deep's first album, it was good. It wasn't great. You know, they still had Premier producing, and I think Pete Rock might have been on there. They had really good producers, but the sound was different. They were still young. But Infamous, to me, Infamous is the best album of all time. As good as people say Illmatic is, I will put Infamous up against it any day of the week. I will put my life on it. That Infamous, and that's the thing. Like Fat Joe said, Nas was giving you a glimpse into Queensbridge. Man, gosh, he didn't take you deep into the darkness of Queensbridge like Mobb Deep did. Like Mobb Deep was just a really, really street hood album, man. Production was amazing, So, but that's the thing. Like I said, most cats' debuts, most of their debuts have to be pretty good. Because if your first album isn't good, you're definitely not going to get the second one. Labels were like quick to let artists go and groups go. If the first album didn't have a certain kind of success, a certain kind of reaction, it wasn't that good, you was more likely not getting your second. And, and even when you do have a good, successful debut, a lot of people follow-up albums were not as good. Let's keep it moving.
With the Adidas, they had the first endorsement ever.
Leather, Adidas suits, fedoras that come back.
You know what's crazy is I remember when we did the 50th anniversary in Yankee Stadium. I felt like they did them wrong because they made them close, even though it's Run DMC, because it was like late. They started like 2, 3 in the morning.
Broke that show down to 2 days, and one day should have been. And one day should have been. None of everybody happy.
I agree.
Everybody got to wait till on it. You know what I mean?
Man, when Run DMC...
I was on the Sprinter watching it.
When Run DMC came out and it was like the Kings of Rock, you knew that this was like U2, Rolling Stones, the legends of all legends, the blueprint, that this... I was watching it like a little kid. I performed already. I went upstairs with my family. I was like, yo, this is I can't believe they made music like this. And I could tell you, I was in junior high school.
I'm about to finish it off right here, man. I love Run DMC, love a lot of artists from the 80s, but I don't think the 80s, no albums in the 80s can compare with the best albums in the 90s. That's just my opinion. The 90s was really the peak of hip-hop. And, just the sounds, the different production sounds, the different original sounds. Like I said, a lot of really good debuts in the 90s. Yes, Illmatic set the tone of where hip-hop was really going. Just the level of quality hip-hop. Like 80s guys were good, but, only a couple cats in the 80s that were really, really super dope rhymers in the 90s to me, man. I mean, like the Cool G Raps and Rakims and guys like that, Master Aces. But the 90s, man, even then, when they were in the 90s, their sound evolved to the 90s. It got better. It was just an amazing time, an amazing sound for hip hop. And to me, the reason the 90s was the best, because to me, that was the time when sampling was really, really heavy, and they were sampling a lot of 60s and 70s music, which 60s and 70s music, of any genre, in my opinion, is the best music of all time. But yeah, Nas had a good one, man. But this is the thing: some of the best albums, like Nas's album, didn't even go platinum. Like when it came out, it went like gold. Same thing with Mobb Deep, Infamous. A lot of the best albums were not necessarily the most successful albums, so we always need to keep that in mind. And sometimes the most successful ones aren't necessarily always the best. Because one of the most successful albums of all time is Nelly's first album, Country Grammar, and I wouldn't like. They ain't hardly too many really dope albums in the '90s that Nelly's album is outdoing. I'm sorry, it's not. Well, I appreciate it. We about to wrap it up. Peace, and I'm out.